everybody, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you have already subscribed, welcome back. Today we are going to be making a quick and easy lobster bisque with seafood bread. If you're interested and want to see this video, please keep on watching.
Cooking made easy. Here is an overview of all our ingredients. We have some butter. We also have some chopped onions and bell peppers. We have some carrots, tomato paste, celery. We have some lobster tail. To season the lobster, we are gonna be using the organic meat seasoning. This organic meat seasoning is an all-in-one full with flavor. You're interested in trying this meat seasoning, I'll have it in the description below. We have water, and we also have some heavy whipping cream and some better than bouillon. Now we are going to move everything aside and start seasoning the lobster tails. And to season the lobster tails, I'm going to add a generous amount of the meat seasoning, and we are going to mix it well. And if you are new here, my name is Claude Mott. I am the owner and founder of Le Bon Goût Seasoning, where we sell organic meat seasoning, organic green seasoning, organic hot pepper sauce, organic barbecue marinade, organic jerk marinade, and so much more. If you're interested in trying one of our seasonings, I'll make sure to have the link in the description below. Now that the lobster tails are fully seasoned, we are going to transfer them in a pan, and then we are going to add some water, and then we are going to put it on the stove to boil. And this is the broth that we are going to be using to make a lobster bisque. And this is what it is looking like. Now we are going to put it over the stove to boil. For our seafood bread, I am using Italian bread loaf for this recipe. This recipe is very easy to follow, and also a quick disclaimer, this recipe also calls for a lot of mayonnaise. Add our mixture on top of the bread. Sprinkle some cheese on top, and this is our Italian bread, and bake it under the oven. Now, to have the good broth for the lobster bisque, we have a lobster boiling on top of the stove. I love my lobster bisque to be well fully seasoned. So if you are seeing those colors, this is all from the seasoning. Now that it has been boiling, we are going to remove the lobster tail from the broth, and then we are going to take the meat out of the shell. Then we are going to place the shell back in the broth and allow it to boil some more for an additional 10 minutes. Now that the lobster broth is done, we have already taken the meat out and cut them into small pieces. Now we are going to start making a lobster bisque. We are going to melt some butter. While our butter is melting, we are going to add the onion and the bell peppers, and we are going to keep mixing them until they get tender and translucent. After that, we are going to add some garlic. After that, we're going to add some celery. I already cleaned and cut the celery into small size. Now we are going to add some carrots, and we are going to mix it well until all our veggies are tender. For this lobster bisque, we are not going to be using any water or no other broth. All the broth that's going to be making this lobster bisque will be coming from the lobster broth that we just boiled. And now we are going to start making a roux per se. We are going to add some tomato paste and keep mixing it well. After we add our tomato paste, we are going to add some flour and make sure you mix it well. This is going to form a roux, and this is what's also going to thicken our lobster bisque. And after we add the flour, we make sure we mix it well. Now we are going to start adding the lobster broth. Depending on the amount of lobster bisque that you are making, you can add the amount of broth that you want. But while you are adding the lobster broth, make sure you keep mixing because you don't want the flour to form any clumps. So make sure you keep mixing it well. And now we are going to add more of the lobster broth and we are going to allow it to boil. And this is what it is looking like so far. I'm not going to add no extra salt, no extra seasoning because the lobster broth is already well seasoned. I don't want it to be on the salty side. So now we are going to put the lid back on and allow it to boil until all the veggies are fully cooked. And now we are just checking up on it and it is still boiling. I'm just checking to see if the carrots and celery are fully cooked and tender. So now we are going to allow them to boil some more. Now that it is done boiling, what I do is I turn off the stove and allow it to cool off a little bit. Now I'm going to use my hand mixer to mix everything well into a puree. Make sure you allow it to cool off a little bit because if you are not using a blender, you are using a mixer, you want to avoid getting burned. I'm going to use the mixer so that I can make sure that I blend all the vegetables. And this is what it is looking like so far. We can say our lobster bisque is almost ready. Now that I have fully blended everything, I have turned the heat back on. I'm going to add some fresh basil. And as it boils, guys, you will notice that it is getting thicker and it's becoming more creamy. Now I'm going to add the heavy whipping cream and allow it to boil some more. Then after that, I'm going to shut off the heat and allow it to cool off a little bit and start plating. And this is the final result of a lobster bisque and seafood bread. This recipe was very easy to follow, guys. If you have any question, make sure you have them below. If you have any comment that you want to address, make sure you have them below as well. And here is an overview of a lobster bisque. Our lobster bisque came out so creamy, and I took the lobster meat and added in there as well. I really hope you guys like this recipe, and if you make this recipe, comment below. Let me know what you'll do differently. Let me know what you'll add. Let me know what you'll not add. And also, guys, I have the seafood bread recipe coming up in my channel. If you want to have a fully detailed recipe on how I make the seafood bread, make sure you subscribe. That way when the seafood bread recipe is posted, you can remain updated. And here is a closer look of our seafood bread, and here is a closer look of our lobster bisque. These paired so well together. You definitely have to give it a try. Thank you guys so much for staying with me until the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye now. Cooking made easy.